Okay, welcome back to Cheddar, everyone. With us now is Issuu CEO Joe Hyrkin to discuss his digital publishing platform, a platform that works for magazines and catalogs as well.
Absolutely. Good to see you. Thanks for taking the time to be with us.
You guys have been around for a while, right?
We have. Issue's actually celebrating our 10th anniversary this year, and we started off 10 years ago to completely transform the world of publishing to make access to content that people are passionate about digitally available for consumers and provide a whole set of tools and services for creators who want to make that content available to them.
We were just previewing Facebook's earnings in the last block, and we were talking about where the money is going in terms of ad dollars away from print and what money is going to digital. So among the customers that you're working with or that are using your platform, rather, what are you seeing in terms of the digital ad market right now?
So what we're seeing in the digital ad market is, I actually think in many ways we're just the very beginnings of what's going to happen in the digital ad market. I think increasingly we're going to find that in the digital world, creators are making content that consumers are really passionate about. We're going to see longer form content, more content that caters to people's passions and ideas. And that then opens up a whole new range of advertising, because we'll start to really see engagement advertising, advertising that orients around what people are really fascinated about, interested in, and what they want to be diving into as well.
Have you seen more or less space devoted to advertisements on some of the sites that are using, obviously, your platform to push out their content?
Yeah, I think we're seeing more and different kinds of space being made available. So we're seeing integrated video content into pages of publications. We're seeing different ways that people are creating interstitials in front of and in between pages. We're seeing people really merge the ways in which they're monetizing, from both advertising to starting to use the pages of content to drive comments.
So give us like the 2 seconds. Who are the biggest magazines you have on the platform, and how do people pay for it?
Great. So we actually have 3 million publishers, 30 million publications that are using us. We have everybody from major brands like Red Bulletin and V Magazine and publicly traded companies like Exo Group, to really high quality up and coming brands that are using digital to build an audience that was never available before.
And how are they doing that?
So a great example is Tomtom Magazine. It's created by this woman, Mindy Abovitz, who has built a publication that's dedicated strictly to female drummers. She is creating these high quality publications, really featuring great artists and great drummers and great content in her publications. She's then using Issuu to distribute that to a very broad audience. We have 100 million unique visitors a month who are able to access her content, and then she can start targeting advertising based on both the way in which that content is distributed digitally as well as the print. People are starting to create publications that are both made available digitally and in print, and starting to distribute that content through Issuu, in stream in Facebook, in Twitter, etc.
How quickly have you seen that shift from a combination of print and digital to just maybe digital solo for some of these companies?
Yeah, it's fascinating. So increasingly what we're finding are the most innovative, thoughtful creators are going digital first, and then they're starting to do things with publications. There's a great publication, Sweet Paul Magazine. It focuses on DIY, the makers movement, and this is a really folksy, art-oriented publication that in the past you couldn't have access to because there just wasn't a way to build the audience. Through Issuu, they can now build that audience, and then they can start to go to print. Solange, the music artist, is a great example where she created A Seat at the Table. It's an entire 360-degree experience. That's music, that's publishing, that's video. In her case, she created a book that incorporates all the lyrics in very beautiful, quality-oriented around every single page. She only made 86 copies of the book, but she's using Issuu to distribute that to all of her fans.
Interesting. Okay, so we know yesterday we heard that Gannett is no longer going to be pursuing this deal for Trunk, the publisher of the Chicago Tribune, as well as the LA Times. The deal price there in private talks was $18.75 a share, and you can see how the stock has reacted right there. But what does this mean? We have seen a flurry of newspaper deals, smaller newspaper deals, as people have tried to consolidate given the current industry. Gannett wanted to be the biggest publisher in this space. With the purchase of Trunk, obviously it didn't work out.
So I think it's really an exciting time in the media space. I think what we're actually seeing is, in the past, There have been a very few major companies that basically dominated all of media. They dictated what people were able to get access to. You had to go to them to be to have access to an audience, and that's no longer the case. I mean, we see Cheddar, right? You didn't exist just a couple of years ago, and all of a couple of months ago,
even better,
and and now all of a sudden you have access to a massive audience digitally. We're seeing the same thing with creators, where they can, because of the tools that are available, you don't need Anna Wintour to bless you. You can go create a massive audience in the fashion world through the tools and distribution that's available digitally. And so what we will see is a whole new set of media brands that get created around the passion and creativity of those who are making that content and those who want to consume it.
So what does it mean, you think, that that deal did not go through?
I think what it means is that the traditional forms of digital companies are really broken. So they have huge infrastructures around cost, around marketing, around sales organizations. They're slow to get into this capability to really focus on quick digital distribution and connecting at depth. I think the other thing that it shows is that consumers have access to headline content from a whole range of sources. There's very few things that are distinguishing that headline content, and so increasingly what we'll see is a focus on these up-and-coming, passion-oriented publishers and creators.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us, Joe.